Yo, what's up, YouTube Nation? I'm here in the same area. I decided I didn't want to be at the house. Today is going to be the next episode of NFL Who is Better. Or should I bloody say it should be no other than Eli Manning from the New York Giants versus Russell Wilson from the Seattle Seahawks. So let's get into this video because pretty soon my best friend will come to play basketball. And God knows I want to get that over with because tomorrow I'll have to wash my work clothes. And then I probably won't give you no more YouTube videos until later in the week because there's going to be a bunch of stuff coming up. And you know how that's turned out. So let's get into it. Eli Manning is a two-time Super Bowl champion. Now, he's been in the NFL for about 11, 12 years. He's the little brother of Peyton Manning. And a lot of times in the NFL, they love to play these storylines. You know, big brother versus little brother. Every time it's the New York Giants versus the Indianapolis Colts, big brother always wins, and the little brother always loses. And whenever Eli Manning does actually beat his big brother in the Colts back in the day, they would never necessarily give him the credit. They would always come up with some type of excuse on, oh, he just got a lucky break. Oh, he beat his big brother by pure luck. It wasn't a real game. And then he does the same thing with Tom Brady and the New England Patriots. He does something in NFL history that only a few football teams has ever done in the Super Bowl. That's actually beat a championship team with an undefeated record and a Super Bowl. An impressive feat that has never been repeated ever since. Then to beat him again in a Super Bowl rematch. And just to see that he's won 2 championships and he's been in the NFL for about 11 or 12 years is impressive in itself. Now, at some point, you would like to say, will the New York Giants at least win one more Super Bowl to make it 3? Well, that's the thing. You would think that this football team, as long as it's been around in the NFL, you would love to think that it's a franchise team. You know, when they call teams dynasty, you got to win at least 3 to 4 championships to be called a dynasty. And this team has only won 2 Super Bowls in a 12 to 13 year period. And some people feel like that he only won those 2 championships because of circumstances, meaning you were never ever picked to ever win these Super Bowls. You only won the first one because the Patriots had never lost, and when they finally lost, it happened in the worst game it could happen to. It happened in the Super Bowl. You beat them in a rematch because someone from the Patriots caught the football at the last minute. And had they caught it, it would have been a touchdown. The Giants would have lost that Super Bowl. That's the problem with people saying that about Eli Manning. Now, why he should get some respect is because he didn't just beat the Patriots twice. He was able to beat them in ways that other football teams, psychologically, could not do to the Patriots. So that's evidence on why that team should be a dynasty. And then I also given you some reasons on why he, unfortunately, will never go down in history as the team to be a dynasty. On the other hand, we got this other quarterback named Russell Wilson, who comes in, I think, in the 2008, 2009, or 2010 NFL draft or something like that. And this guy goes on what they call a historic rise. Something that just don't happen to rookie players in the NFL. This guy, less than 3 to 4 seasons, finds himself in the Super Bowl. Remember the San Francisco 49ers and Colin Kaepernick when he was picked to do that and he didn't? And it ended up being Russell Wilson? Well, he get there less than half the amount of time it takes. The guy's not even in his prime. And he goes to the Super Bowl and he beats the Denver Broncos and Peyton Manning, and he does it on his first try. And there's only a few NFL players in history that can actually do that. Come in and just beat someone on their first try for their first Super Bowl. I remember they call that the greatest defense versus the greatest offense. And a lot of people pick Seattle Seahawks to lose that Super Bowl. And then the very next year, what is Wilson does? He turns around and he goes back to the Super Bowl a year later. And who is he going to the Super Bowl against? Tom Brady and the New England Patriots. Now, he had a chance to win 2 Super Bowls 2 years in a row back to back to put the icing on the cake. And just like when Tom Brady and the Patriots lost to the New York Giants in a rematch, foolishly and disappointingly, someone couldn't catch the football. And what do we got? The Patriots win a Super Bowl, he loses, so he wins a championship, he loses a championship. If anyone got real awfully close to making the Seattle Seahawks into a dynasty, it was Wilson and the Seattle Seahawks. Now that I've given you evidence on why they should and then some reasons on why they're not, let's go into overall, if you had to pick a football team, who's actually decisively better. I would say that Russell Wilson is now in his prime. 27, 28. The guy's in his prime. Eli Manning is getting close to retirement. I still think that Eli may have maybe 2 or 3 years left in him to try to pursue a playoff run with the New York Giants. If it weren't for injuries and all these trades, I would say it's the New York Giants. But as of right now, even though they broke up the Seattle Seahawks team, he's still the quarterback and he's still in his prime. And I still think that before it's all said and done, we still might see Russell Wilson in another Super Bowl. He might, in fact, be in 2 more Super Bowls to make it a total of 4. Now, I know that's a big stretch and a big reach, but I still think that the Seattle Seahawks, when they get some more players and some more trades, expect him to be that player that we know him to be. So that's why I feel like the Seattle Seahawks is a better fit to be a dynasty. Now let's talk about why, unfortunately, neither one of these teams could go down in history as a dynasty. See, Seattle Seahawks had a chance to do it 2 years in a row. No one gets there that fast, that close, and then turn around and do it a year later. And we all know that it was the coach's fault, Pete Carroll, for making that stupid decision that he made. Otherwise, the Patriots would have lost the Super Bowl like everyone expected, and Russell Wilson would have had 2 championships 2 years in a row. That right there will haunt you for the rest of your NFL career, that you were that close to winning 2 championships in a row, and just like that, it was taken away from you. It's like someone comes in at the last minute and steals this super hot, mega hottie girl from you, and the fact that you go on for 10 years dreading, I was that close and it was taken away from me just like that. That's what it is for Russell Wilson. As for the New York Giants, you win 2 Super Bowls championships against the same team, but then you're not able to repeat that success some years later. So then it questions the idea, does the New York Giants even have anything left in the tank at this point? Now, I'm pretty sure that when Eli Manning decides to make one last playoff run, he might make the playoff. Now, this is a team that struggles offensively but is good defensively. Now, if these 2 teams had faced each other in the playoffs like they did in the preseason, we probably would be able to answer that question. Now, who's the better football player? I would say it's Russell Wilson. Who has the better football team? It's the New York Giants. But we could look at that matchup-wise and say it's just about the same. But if I had to take a team with a younger star who's already been there twice and still could go there before it's all said and done, I take Russell Wilson. As for Eli Manning, he's been there twice, he's won twice, but I get this itchy feeling that you ain't been back in the last 7 years, 7 to 8 years, and it makes us wonder, is there anything left? And I do believe that both these players are going to go back to the Super Bowls before their careers are over. So I've already told you my personal answer. I'm sticking with Russell Wilson. I still think he might go one or two more times. And before it's said and done, the guy might have at least 3 championships. He might have 3 out of 4. It might be something that we've seen with the Golden State Warriors, give or take. And as for the New York Giants, I don't think the New York Giants would make it back unless they either get Eli Manning some help on offense, improve the defensive line, or figure out what to do with the players that they have currently, because when you don't see the New York Giants going to the playoffs, you know something's wrong. You know, something either is wrong with the organization, either they're not making the right trades, either the players are injured too much, or Eli Manning is just afraid to speak up and say, hey, I can't win with this squad. I need some quality players. Maybe if you bring in a Richard Sherman and you throw him on New York City Giants football team, you might see things change. You know, and I'm pretty sure he'll end up leaving if Eli Manning doesn't get traded. I'm sure he's going to end up ending his career with only 2 titles, thinking, man, I could have done something that my big brother ain't never done. Because you know that's what he's thinking. My big brother's gone to the Super Bowl 4 times. I'm tied up with him with 2 titles. It'd be nice to win a 3rd so I can say I'm better than him, but unfortunately, we'll never get to that point. Until next time, I'll make another video, and that one's going to be about the Oakland Raiders and the Dallas Cowboys, because I know there are some Dallas Cowboys, and I know there's some Oakland Raider fans that want me to talk about their teams and who's better, and that'll probably be in the next video. Until then, peace.